I mean, you look up and down the lineup right now and you look at the numbers and you say, this lineup is actually intimidating. Like we could not say that a couple months ago.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Captain Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
And we have a lot to discuss on today's program, like the Rays taking down the Kansas City Royals on the road by a score of 5-1. Chandler Simpson getting called up, and an update, and looks like a verdict in the Wander Franco trial. So a lot to discuss on the episode today, Ulises.
Yes, we do, but we can't start that until we tell you that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year.
All right, Ulises, the Rays, as I mentioned, they beat the Royals and are now 44-35. The Royals fall to 38-41. Our buddy Brendan Atkins isn't happy about that, but he is happy about the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship. So he likes the Thunder, he likes the Chiefs, and he likes the Royals. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But the Rays continue to win and win and win. And last I checked, they're just 1 game back of the Yankees.
Indeed they are. And I know I don't like to look at the standings so early in the season, but it is true, 1 game only. It makes you think that if the team is able to just keep that offensive production as they have in the last couple, I think we can extend it more than to last 35 games, then that division is in play. And that's something that maybe we wouldn't have said at the beginning of the season, especially when the window of wins, if you'd like to call it that, was around 75 to 84. Well, it looks like that 75 is going down the wayside the more and more they win, but still very exciting. I think one of the things that has made this offensive production go this way in the last 30, 35 games is that the big guys are being big guys.
Yes.
And what I'm talking about is Brendan Lau is being Brendan Lau. Yandy Diaz is being Yandy Diaz. Junior Caminero is being Junior Caminero. Like, they have to be themselves. And then the auxiliary parts are not going to carry so much of a burden offensively. They can just be who they are, or even have a little bit of a less of a great day at the plate. But because the big guys are carrying them, then it should work itself out.
Yeah, and the other thing too, if I recall, and based on the box score, Josh Lowe and Brandon Lau didn't play, most likely because of the lefties and maybe needing a day off, combination thereof. And it is not like you need all the key pieces playing every single game in the lineup every single day. We are at the point right now, whether it keeps up for the remainder of the season remains to be seen, but you can look at the lineup before the game and say, oh, Brandon Lau's in the lineup. That's okay. I'm cool with that. Yandy Diaz is doing his thing. Junior Caminero is doing his thing. Jonathan Aranda is doing his thing. As you said, the auxiliary parts are doing their thing. So I think that also takes a little bit of the pressure off, and you can say, and maybe it, creates a little bit of versatility for Kevin Cash of saying, hey, I don't have to push my standout players every single game, every single day. I can give them a breath if needed. And we had Jonathan Shields on yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about the All-Star voting and the considerations for Rays players and who might ultimately be selected from our organization to the showcase. And it was just so refreshing to see, well, there's a case for Brandon Lau. There's a case for Junior Caminero. There's a case for Yandy Diaz. There's a case for Jonathan Aranda. There's a case for a couple pitchers. And I mean, you look up and down the lineup right now and you look at the numbers and you say, this lineup is actually intimidating. Like we could not say that a couple months ago, where top to bottom, there are guys that can give you trouble and give you fits in a good way if you're a Rays fan. So, and just like last night, Yandy Diaz continuing to get a hit in every game. He gets 3 knocks. Jonathan Aranda gets 3 knocks, but it was Danny Jansen who came up clutch. We'll talk about Jansen, but I think he deserves credit for getting the Rays going offensively with the home run and then the sacrifice fly. Because my point is, when you're facing a guy like Chris Bubeck, who, maybe people weren't familiar with, well, people are familiar with him now because he is on quite the roll. And if not for like 15 other American League starters just doing amazing things with their arm, he might be getting more love and respect. But a guy that is that good in that moment, you have to get to them early, because if you don't, you let them get into a groove and we're looking at a shutout.
And that's where Danny Jansen came up very fortunate, because not only, like you said, the 2-run home run, but it was also getting that extra cushion, right? The sacrifice fly, and to do some work. Now, Danny Jansen, I know, hasn't been what we all expected. I know there was a little surge in May. He hit 228 and a 764 OPS that month. The average has come down a little bit since May. However, the power has stayed true.
Right.
And if you look at a big picture, like we've tried to analyze this on the catching position, look, you're not going to get Johnny Bench behind the dish. Like, you're just not. It's very difficult to do that.
There aren't many
Cal Raleigh. There's only one Cal Raleigh in the league. Exactly. Yeah. I will say, though, the power that he's shown already is at its maximum of last year. He has hit 8 home runs. All catchers last year hit 9. So he's almost there. It's June 25th, people. So at least in the power department, he's actually been doing what he was signed up for, to increase that power. But you said something about the auxiliary parts doing their thing. Can we just give a little bit of love to friend of the pod, Curtis Mead?
Yeah.
So many people were trying to get that. We said, just be patient. Be patient. He's shown that he can hit, just like Jonathan Aranda had in every single stage in the minor leagues. Just give him some time to cook. And guess what? In May, he hit 277 with an 822 OPS. In June, he has hit 389 with a 1 OPS.
That's nice.
That's nice.
And getting the batting second in the order mantle.
So when you're saying, oh, Brandon Lau is not on the lineup, that's okay. Curtis Mead is. That's what's been really good about this last 30 to 35 games, is that you don't have to have, quote unquote, the big guys if the auxiliary parts are doing their job. And that's how this whole winning streak has or this winning change environment has happened. It's because everybody has turned their wheels and are actually being effective right now at the dish.
Yeah, it's good to see. We have much more to discuss. Haven't even mentioned Taj Bradley yet, so we'll get to him and beyond. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning that big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money, it's more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. We all like that, right? So go ahead, take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
All right. Back at it, celebrating a Rays victory and nearing that top spot in the AL list. I think it's going to happen. Hot take, by the end of the month, the Rays will be number one in the division. How sweet would that be? And then there would be no excuse. The Rays would have to be buyers at the trade deadline.
That's what I was talking about on Monday's episode. I was by a solo. Like, if you're able to get out of these 19 games, which 16 will be away, if you're able to scratch out an 11-8, which, hey, now it doesn't have to be an 11-8. You already took care of the first one, all right? So one less to go.
Right.
If you're able to do that, you not only keep your cushion that you've been building, but, increase it just a tiny bit before the All-Star break so that the environment around the front office is more of a, let's get that one more guy. And I'm not asking, Kev, we know the realities of the Rays front office. The Nelson Cruzes, that doesn't happen every trade deadline. No. But all I'm asking for is that one reliever, that guy that you might not have heard of, but he's killing it. Like, I think like 3 years ago, I was like, get Jeff Hoffman. He's the guy. There must be a reliever out there that the Rays have had tabs on, and they know that it could be that extra little bit to make that bullpen a little bit more secure, more stable, more to the fact that when you take out Zach Littell like 69 pitches after the fifth inning, you feel a little bit better than how you feel about it now. Because right now, I feel like give Zach Littell the sixth inning. If you have a stronger bullpen, I might not feel so inclined to give the ball to Zach Littell to implode because I feel like, okay, the bullpen's got him.
Yeah. It's funny because 2 months ago, if we were talking about, hey, the Rays, if they're in the hunt, we need a middle of the order bat, that might not be needed anymore. Now it might just be a bullpen arm, which is
really
refreshing to say, especially when we consider that Ha-Seong Kim will eventually be up with the big club. How successful he is remains to be seen. I'm sure it'll take him time to get into a groove, but at the, just based on his level of competence at the plate and in the field, he should be a win from that perspective. But speaking of pitchers, do want to give a shout out to Taj Bradley. Goes 6 2/3 strong, allows 2 hits, 1 walk, no earned runs, and got 4 strikeouts. The 4 strikeouts were on 4 different pitches, if I remember it correctly: a 4-seamer, a cutter, a curveball, and a splitter. And there was so much talk about, after his last couple bad starts, just send him down, call up Joe Boyle. And I understand that. But the Rays were like, no, we think we can figure this out in-house, working with Snyder. And really, it's as simple as command, throwing strikes, generating ground outs. And I also think what happened was in yesterday's game, giving him a little bit of a cushion, taking the pressure off him. Thank you, Danny Jansen, getting a nice 3-0 lead. And the Royals, for being honest and frank about it, it's not like they have the most intimidating lineup. Like that's a lineup that you can do okay against. I mean, we all know about Bobby Witt and some of the other pieces, but it's definitely not the top lineup in the league. So it was great to see Taj Bradley getting back in a groove, showing his potential and talent, and hopefully he's able to keep this up. I mean, he was kind of flirting with the no-no for a period of time, but
not only a no-no, he had the perfect through 5. And so, the no-no lasted just a little bit longer than that, but it was great to see him this way. And I made a point last episode that from what I see, it seems like the fastball is not getting whiffs. The 4-seam is not getting whiffs. I'm sure the Rays are trying to fix that, and I'm sure that is one of the many factors that has given him some issues this year. But that's the thing. When he does this types of outings, it makes you kind of go at your hair and be like, oh, I want to see more of this. Like, why? That's why you don't send this guy down, because he can do this. And I don't know about you, Kevin, but if, I saw it on Twitter last night, like somebody was saying, like, this is what I need to see more of Taj. I want to see this next outing and the next outing again. Guys,
okay, you want Nolan Ryan too? I mean,
I was like, guys, okay, there has to. All I'm saying is from Taj's perspective on his outings, just give me quality starts. Just become kind of a Zach Littell. I want to start to know what you're going to give me. I want, like with Littell, out of his 16 starts, only 3 of them he's allowed 4 runs or more. That's what that's reliable. That's Littell. Like, I know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to get from Taj. So I would like to start knowing that. And if this is a step forward into that direction of like, okay, he can give me some quality starts, I'm all for it. I'm not signing up here for 6 shutties every time. Just give me a quality start, get us in the game, because right now the offense is doing its job where 3 runs, that's not unsurmountable.
No, I'm with you there. And I think that the fact that quality starts is really all the starters need to put forth in the run that we're on, because the Rays, between their power, situational hitting, I mean, we talked about Danny Jansen, but it was even, a ground out to short that scored a run, and a chopper on the first base side, or a bouncer on the first base side that Aranda hit, and you're forcing the pitcher to make a play, and that leads to an error, and that leads to a run. And we talk about it all the time, is putting balls in play. Good things happen when there's a runner at third and there's less than 2 outs. You will usually find a way to score. And especially when you have a mix of speedier types on the roster spread throughout between Jake Mangum and Chandler Simpson and Taylor Walls, it makes the lineup that more dangerous. I know that, we've had Klosky on, and he doesn't like the redundancy of Jake Mangum and Chandler Simpson. Well, you can get away with that with what the power is showing from Caminero and Lau and Aranda and Diaz. I mean, you're fine with that.
Also, Kevin, and I know this is completely biased, so there's please don't think that but it seems to me that usually when Rays hitters hit home runs, they're solo. They're solo variety. There's not a lot of people on base. Maybe this season has changed a little bit, but you can change that. How? Very simple, right? You have to have guys that get on base. And who gets on base? Chandler Simpson gets on base. Jake Mangum gets on base. And they get on base, maybe not in the traditional sense, but as long as they put the ball in play, they have a chance to be at first.
Yeah.
And that is huge. I feel like, the redundancy, schmundancy. I like good players on my lineup, no matter what they do. If it's 10 Chandler Simpson or if it's 10 Junior Camaneros, obviously I'd tag the 10 juniors. But the point is, good players, I'll take them. I don't care if there's redundancy.
Yeah. And what could help, I know that Chandler Simpson went 0 for 4, but putting him in the 9th spot, and if he can find a way to get on base and then turn the lineup over for Yandy Diaz, good things can happen. Yes. And let's hope that Simpson worked on the defense and getting on base enough to where he can stay long-term. And that's what, we talked about Curtis Mead. You got to give him time to cook. You got to give Simpson time to cook. You got to give Meisner time to cook. Yeah. These are young players. These are rookie level players. And because of the huge disparity between AAA and the majors, it might take longer for a prospect to really find his way and find his footing than maybe a few years ago or pre-COVID, when, when things were a little bit different in the minor league. So I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah. All right. We will wrap things up after this. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pill that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If those traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. So go ahead, head over to Rugiet.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB for 15% off.
All right, wrapping things up here, Ulysses. I guess we'd be remiss if we didn't mention what is going on in the Wander Franco trial. Evidently, a verdict is expected Thursday, and prosecutors are seeking a 5-year prison term. So we are on court watch, and have your popcorn ready, because there's been a lot of fireworks in this whole thing. I haven't kept up with all of it. I'll be frank. I've followed the Twitter tea leaves, if you will, and it seems like there's been a lot of drama and a lot of back and forth, as you'd expect. It's something that could probably be broadcast on court TV, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow and what the lowdown is.
Yeah, it's odd. The first thing I saw was that the the government is asking for, or not the government. What's the lexicon? Locked on trials. What's the lexicon when it's not the plaintiff or the defendants, right? It's the plaintiff, right? So the plaintiff is asking for 5 years for Wander, which is a big change from what we had heard of a few months back when they wanted the maximum penalty.
Yeah, like 20 to 30 years, I think.
Yeah, so that's, I think, the biggest thing right now is what happened with the change. And I put this on Twitter, like, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, and I'm not a DR lawyers expert or law expert, but if you're going down from maximum to 5 years, from my many times watching a Law and Order and the likes and Suits, it seems like the plaintiff does not believe that they have enough to get the maximum penalty, correct?
That would be my supposition as well. So
so that's that's a wrinkle that we didn't think that would happen. Wander did not get on the stand to verify. He just said, obviously in Spanish, I just want justice to be made, or to happen, to be done. And Thursday, do we have a time of when this verdict will happen?
I have not seen that. I've just heard Thursday. So it could be 12:01 a.m. It could be 9 a.m. It could be 11:59 p.m. for all I know. I mean, my guess would be late morning, early afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with that. Well, people, Thursday's episode might be with a banger, depending on when we record. But again, let's just state this. This is not over, folks, because after this is done, MLB's investigation will be done. So if you think, Wander's going to get off and he's going to be not guilty, and then he's going to play with the Rays, no, because MLB investigation then will start, or at least continue. It's just that they can't really do anything until the legal procedures are done. So this is going to keep on going. MLB investigation then will provide whatever resolution that they seem deemable, and could be just like the Trevor Bauer situation, which ultimately, if you had green Skittles, don't you kind of see that coming?
Yeah.
That if he goes and escapes, quote unquote, any legal trouble with the DR, that he might just be put in, purgatory with Trevor Bauer,
and then have to play overseas somewhere. Yeah, that could very well be the case. Like, I could see him in Asia somewhere, hitting 380. But I think, if you're a Rays fan, the impact of this that we need to find out and determine sooner than later is, can you get out of this contract? Can you find a way to not have to pay this guy? And if he's found guilty, I would think that there's got to be some clause in the contract of, the contract is voided due to cause. And some of the verbiage, the legalese of, you're a bad human being and a detractor from society. And that way we don't have to pay you $183 million in change. And those funds can be used for somebody who can stay on the field and hit dingers for us. I don't know.
Yeah, AKA Junior Caminero. Look, by the way, I think I'm going to steal that from you. Detractor from society. I'm gonna yell that to someone.
Yes, if somebody cuts you off or doesn't use their turn signal.
Detractor from society. It sounds like a George Costanza line. I love it.
You leave a 12% tip. You are.
You are the detractor from society.
Exactly. That's a good band name too, actually. Detractor
Yeah.
from Society, or Society Detractors.
Yeah,
They're
I like
making
that.
waves. All right, so there it is. Put it in the comments what you think will happen with the trial. Put it in the comments if you think that the Rays can unseat the Yankees for the top spot in the AL East by the end of the month. And also send us your mailbag questions. You can put them in the YouTube comments. You can email us, lockedonrays@gmail.com. You can send us a voice memo to lockedonrays@gmail.com. Many different ways to get in touch with us. So that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on those YouTubes or wherever you listen to your